escalation against Israel overnight, telling me the attack was nothing compared to what happened to them. They're going down. They're losing big. Meanwhile, a strike on an Iranian gas field, which Iran is blaming on Israel, and an Iranian attack on oil facilities in Qatar causing oil prices to spike. Vice President Vance today calling those rising prices a temporary blip.
We're going to take care of business. We're going to come back home. And when that happens, you're going to see energy prices come back down to reality.
All as Israel overnight killed Iran's intelligence minister, who helped launch that recent brutal crackdown on Iranian protesters.
As of this moment, the regime maintains power within Iran, even though they are vastly degraded on almost every front.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Radcliffe testifying on Capitol Hill, describing the threat from Iran before U.S. airstrikes.
If left unimpeded, yes, Senator, they would have the ability to range missiles to the continental U.S.
As former high-ranking counterterrorism official Joe Kent, who resigned in protest over the war with Iran, arguing there had been no imminent threat to the U.S., appeared with supporter Tucker Carlson.
Was Iran on the verge of getting a nuclear weapon?
No, they weren't, 3 weeks ago when this started.
But the CIA director is slamming Kent's accusation.
In fact, the intelligence reflects the contrary.
So you disagree with Mr. Kent?
I do. Iran has been a constant threat to the United States for an extended period of time and posed an immediate threat at this time.
Later, Democrats pressing Gabbard, who'd previously been a skeptic of U.S. intervention abroad.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
You're evading a question because to provide a candid response to the committee would contradict a statement from the White House.
Gabe is joining us now from the White House. Gabe, there's also a focus on that critical Strait of Hormuz, getting it back open, and you have some new reporting on that tonight?
Yes, Hallie, a U.S. official tells NBC News the military dropped 4 5,000-pound deep-penetrating bombs, often called bunker busters, that slammed into facilities holding Iran's anti-ship cruise missiles along the Strait of Hormuz. But they did not wipe out the entire inventory yet. This is the first known time the U.S. military has used these in combat. Hallie?
Gabe Gutierrez, thank you. To those new Iranian attacks on its neighbors, Keir Simmons is in Saudi Arabia tonight. And Keir, Iran is targeting the Saudi capital, even with foreign ministers holding a key meeting there.
That's right, Hallie. Tonight we witnessed the most intense bombardment of the Saudi capital yet. Take a look at these pictures as Saudi authorities say they intercepted every missile, but debris was caused to fall. Hallie, as we flew into Saudi Arabia today, our plane had to hold for 90 minutes until the capital's airport could be reopened. When we did get here, we witnessed boom after boom, even as regional foreign ministers gathered together for an emergency meeting. The Saudi foreign minister saying he is trying to de-escalate, Hallie, but many of the countries here are furious, Hallie. Tonight we're hearing Qatar is saying it is expelling Iranian diplomats. Hallie?
A dramatic scene there. Keir Simmons in Saudi Arabia, thanks. Also tonight, with spring break in full swing, some of the worst TSA lines we've seen yet during this Homeland Security shutdown. And the man picked to lead that department next, facing heat on Capitol Hill. Here's Tom Costello.
5 weeks into the partial government shutdown and some of the longest TSA lines we've seen yet. Hours-long lines in Miami.
We always get here like 3 hours early, but some of these people are really screwed up.
The same in Atlanta, the line weaving around the luggage carousels.
If you have a flight out of Atlanta today, in the next couple of hours, get here as soon as possible.
And New York LaGuardia.
Get here about 3 hours before your flight.
Making matters worse, an airport ground stop and power failure in Denver. The TSA says nearly 10% of its entire workforce called out Tuesday. Also working without pay, the Coast Guard, FEMA, and security.
Anything that I'm saying right now with anything more than a grain of salt, because I'm relaying what Hulk Hogan said. He told at least a half dozen people,
Americans.
We have put on the floor bills to fully fund TSA. And my Republican colleagues
have objected.
But Republicans object to Democratic demands to include ICE policing reforms, part of a contentious confirmation hearing for Senator Mark Wayne Mullen to replace outgoing DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Today, Mullen refused to apologize for calling Senator Rand Paul a snake and saying he understood why Senator Paul's neighbor attacked him in 2017, causing serious injuries.
I just wonder if someone who applauds violence against their political opponents is the right person to lead an agency that has struggled to accept limits to the proper use of force.
As far as me saying that I invoke violence, I don't.
Mullen softened his position on some immigration policies while defending federal officers who shot and killed 2 Americans in Minneapolis, though he said he regrets making statements blaming Alex Preddy for his own death.
I went out there too fast. I was responding immediately without the facts. That's my fault. That won't happen as Secretary.
Would you want to apologize to the family of Alex Preddy?
Well, sir, I just said I regret those statements.
Is that the same as an apology?
I haven't seen the investigation. We'll let the investigation go through, and if I'm proven wrong, then I will absolutely.
Tom is joining us here in Washington. And Tom, when you talk about those long lines, the TSA now says it could stop operations at some airports if this funding fight keeps up.
Right. Bottom line is we're already seeing some airports 30, 40, 50% fewer staff than they need. And we've already seen Philadelphia, for example, consolidating TSA positions. TSA says if this goes on, if people aren't getting paid and they keep calling out sick, TSA may have to close down some airport operations, TSA operations at smaller airports.
Plenty to watch, Tom. Thank you. On the West Coast, a heat wave making history, sending temperatures past 100, and it's not even spring yet. Liz Kreutz reports from a sweltering Los Angeles.
Across the West tonight, a scorching March heat wave making winter feel more like the height of summer. From California to New Mexico, 38 million people under heat alerts. Cities like Tucson and Phoenix bracing for triple-digit temps. Neither have ever before seen a 100-degree day in winter.
Those are June. Those are July temperatures.
The Phoenix Fire Department says already this week they've had to make at least 2 heat-related rescues on their hiking trails, which the city is now closing during the day through Sunday. Multiple spring training games in the area are also moving to evening hours.
Take breaks every 45 minutes. Get in a cooler environment and cool yourself down.
In LA, the blazing sun beating down on these construction workers in Altadena.
If it comes about 1 or 2 o'clock, we are dying out here. I mean, it is hot. We rolled up here today at 2:30 because it was so hot. It was like, you can't get enough fluids.
Some ski resorts now forced to close for the season early. Images from Vail, Colorado show parts of the slopes so melted you can see the grass. And in Nebraska, the warm, dry, and windy conditions continue to fuel those massive wildfires that have now turned deadly, claiming the life of 86-year-old Rose White, a grandmother who died trying to escape.
Liz is joining us now live from Altadena. And Liz, not much heat relief in sight anytime soon.
Yeah, Holly, that's right. This heat wave is expected through at least Sunday, and we can feel it right now. We're well into the 90s here. You can see these incredible construction workers are still out here working. And just to the east of us in Palm Springs, they might break a record by the end of this week of 109 degrees. That would be the highest temperature ever recorded in the U.S. in the month of March. Holly?
Liz Kreutz, thank you. To the disturbing new accusations tonight against a civil rights icon, Cesar Chavez, considered a hero of the labor movement in the 70s. But now, years after his death, allegations emerging that he sexually abused women and young girls. Now, some are calling for his name to be removed from the schools and streets named after him. Camila Bernal reports.
I think that it is a fair contract.
Tonight, shocking allegations that Latino labor rights icon Cesar Chavez, whose name is on schools and monuments across the country, sexually abused women and girls. Decades after his death, Dolores Huerta, now 95, who co-founded the United Farm Workers Union with Chavez, revealed in a statement he sexually assaulted her twice. The first time I was manipulated and pressured into having sex with him. The second time, I was forced against my will and in an environment where I felt trapped. Huerta says the encounters resulted in 2 children with Chavez. I chose to keep my pregnancy secret, and after the children were born, I arranged for them to be raised by other families that could give them stable lives. Her statement came after the New York Times published an investigation detailing Huerta's account, along with 2 other women who say Chavez sexually abused them beginning when they were 12 and 13 years old. NBC News has not spoken with the women. One, Ana Murguia, is seen here next to Chavez during a march in 1975. The Times said it found extensive evidence to support the 2 women's claims through interviews with more than 60 people, union records, and confidential documents. Neither the paper nor NBC News have been able to corroborate Huerta's claims, which she said she kept secret for 60 years. Chavez, together with Huerta, led a movement widely credited with transforming farm labor in the United States.
It is a pleading for social change, for social justice,
guaranteeing union protections, health, safety, and social services. Tonight, his family acknowledging the allegations, calling them deeply painful, adding they wish peace and healing to the survivors and commend their courage forward. The farmer
And then Hogan went back to signing books. That is actually the best part of the entire story. Didn't skip a beat. The fact that he can go to really be Hulk Hogan.
any upcoming annual remembrance events for Chavez's birthday. Hallie?
Camila Bernal, thank you. To switch